Hey, good morning, guys. So I have a special treat for you today, and by special treat for you, I mean a special treat for me. I'm going to be test reviewing this Zero motorcycle. It's a DSR. This motorcycle is fully electric. So guys, I want to talk to you quite a bit about it. This is the most probably different motorcycle I've ever ridden. It has some really cool features, and you know, I really like that kind of retro stuff, but man, this thing is really cool. This is your you know, latest version of the iPhone, so it is pretty cool. So I'm going to take a ride in this for a little bit. We're going to get this bad boy charged up here. Yep, we'll get it charged up, get everything ready to go, and then we'll take a good ride, and we'll talk about some of the neat features about it. It is a very unique experience. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing here? So it turns out to charge it up, all you need to do, it's not that difficult. You just plug it in. There you go. So we should have this thing all charged up here shortly, and we'll take it for a nice ride. Guys, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye. Hey, good morning, guys. It's Chip from Powersports here in Orlando, Florida. Hey, listen, I'm in my yard here. I'm borrowing this Zero DSR. I'm going to take it for a little test drive to talk about some of the neat features about this bike. It is truly the most unique motorcycle I've ever ridden, and for many reasons, but I'll kind of go into that in a little bit. First of all, we're going to talk about the appearance of the bike. You know, it's kind of got that supermoto kind of look to it. It sits a little high. You know, it's tall forks. It's got a little bit of ground clearance. It is well, kind of, I guess, a semi-adventure bike. It does have a pretty aggressive Pirelli tire on there. I'm sure that they're pretty good off-road. The vehicle also has the adjustable rear shock on there. It has the piggyback reservoir on here as well. As we come around to the other side, you can see that it has the electronic motor with the big cooling fins on there. This bike does have disc brake front and rear, and the disc brakes, I can assure you, are quite good. They bite really well. They do have the braided steel lines on there. That probably has something to do with it. It also is a belt drive bike. Belt drives, of course, low maintenance. They don't require any lubing, and they less frequent adjustments. So it is an incredibly, you know, low maintenance bike. Now, overall cost of a bike like this is probably going to be really good because, you know, even though it's kind of mid-teens, you know, price-wise, you know, overall maintenance, you know, there's no oil changes, there's no valve adjustments, there's no tune-up, spark plugs, any of those things. So I think that, like I said, your overall cost on a bike like this is going to be much, much lower. Of course, you don't have to put gas in it. You just plug it in and charge it up. And, of course, that the cost of a charge in your home is a lot less than the fill up at the gas tank. So, you know, we're going to take this for a little ride. I'll talk about some of the things I really like about it. I can't tell you anything I don't like about it. You know, I said I rode it home from Orlando last night. It is a pretty amazing motorcycle. It is very different than anything I've ever ridden, and of course we'll get into a little bit about that. But I think that it's something you'll enjoy riding if you get a chance to. We do offer test drives on these. Now, interestingly, thing about the Zero motorcycles, they're kind of like the Tesla of the industry. We don't have motorcycles in the shop that you can buy. Basically what you do is you come down, you test drive one of these factory demos, and then if you like one, we will order one specifically for you, and they will build your bike and get it to you here in a few weeks. So it is kind of a cool concept. It is a little different than you know other motorcycle industry. But again, it's they'll build the bike specifically for you for just you know, the color, the you know, the trim that you like. They do make these in several different models, so you go online, you can see what the different ones. Like I said, this is the DSR, so it is a kind of semi-adventure bike, maybe even considered a dual sport, but it is a lot of fun. Great riding position. You can see it when we get on there, we'll ride. But you know, upright handlebars, center pegs for your feet. So this was really comfortable to ride. So we'll get into that as well. So guys, come along. We'll have a lot of fun. And again, this is the Zero DSR, and we sell them over here at Powersports here in Orlando, Florida. All right, guys. So here I am riding the Zero. This is the Zero DSR. It's a 2018 model. So I wanted to do a review of this motorcycle. I wanted to give you my opinion, but you know what? I'm going to tell you, on this motorcycle, my opinion doesn't mean squat. You guys got to ride one of these for yourself. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can to describe what riding one of these is like. However, the only way for you to really know is to come down to Sky Powersports and ride one for yourself. And the reason I say that, it is not only because it is so different, but because it is, oh, look at that. We got a little sidecar going on over here. What do we got? It's zero, right? No. Yeah, it is. Cool. So what we got going on here is it's a fully electric motorcycle. It has no clutch. So you just twist the throttle and this thing goes. And when I say it goes, I mean, all right, I mean, this thing really goes. I'm going to highlight a little feature on this called the sport mode here shortly. This bike, we're down to 85%. Again, now we're on the Rockledge end of the river road over here. This runs parallel to the river here on the Indian River. It's a nice ride, low speeds, but you know, it's nice and twisty, so it's always a fun ride. But guys, this bike, you got to experience it for yourself, and I'm sure this is part of that model that they have where you can't go into the dealership and just buy one of these bikes off the showroom floor. You come in and you test drive one of these, you like it, and guys, let me tell you something, you're gonna like it. Then they put in an order for you. In a couple of weeks, you have a bike that was built specifically for you. I think that's a great model for you. It does kind of eliminate the impulse buyer, but probably your impulse buyer isn't a typical buyer for a bike like this. This is probably somebody who thinks a little bit about their purchase. It is very unique. So some of the highlights of benefits of this bike. Now, as I'm going to go through this corner, the transitions on this thing are seamless. Now this particular one, this is the DSR, so it has a almost supermoto look to it. The tires are very, well, they're kind of knobby, aggressive. Now, usually when you have a pretty knobby tire, you get a lot of tire noise. Not the case on this thing. All you really hear is that low whine of that electric motor. The other thing that you usually get with a knobby tires, you get a lot of vibration in the handlebars. In this case, not so much. It's just it's really smooth. It does have a fully adjustable suspension front and rear. The suspension, the way it's adjusted right now, is a little stiff, but I actually prefer stiff over a squashy suspension. I like something that's got some ability to hold the road. But yeah, this has been a fun experience for me. I think that if you will make the time to come down and ride one of these, you will not, I mean, I promise you will not be disappointed at all. These things are simply amazing. I've been riding motorcycles for so long, I mean, there is a certain appeal to a gasoline powered engine, the noise that it makes, the smell of the gasoline and oil and things like that. I mean, things that you get used to through your whole life. So this is really a whole step away from that. As you can see that, though, this thing just is a jewel in the handling department. It's also very torquey. Now, one of the things that if you don't know about electric motors, they make their peak torque and horsepower the minute you crack the throttle. So what does that mean? So when you throttle this thing, it goes. It doesn't have to wait to build to peak horsepower or torque. So therefore, it needs less horsepower and torque to actually do the same job that a very powerful motorcycle would need. Therefore, you don't have to have a big, heavy motorcycle. These things, I don't know what it really weighs, but man, it feels pretty light. It has a really good feel to it. It's got a nice, easy to read charge meter. It tells you the percentage of charge right now. We're at 84%. You've got a mode over here. Now, right now I'm in eco mode. That is going to give me the longest time on the battery. But before I end this test ride, I do want to go ahead and show you how that sport mode works. Sport mode, now in the Tesla models, they have what they call the ludicrous mode. Ludicrous mode, you punch it in that thing, it'll scare the crap out of you, right? So, sport mode pretty much does the same thing on this, I've been on some pretty high-powered bikes in my time, and I gotta tell you, this thing's pretty darn impressive. I'm not gonna say it's the fastest thing I've ever ridden, but for what it is, man, oh man, it will take your breath away if you're not expecting it. But as you can see, this thing is just a jewel through the corners. You do have to be kind of careful because it is a very quiet motorcycle. People are not going to hear you coming. Now, quiet, and now from the motor vlogger standpoint,
I don't have to talk over the engine noise. That's kind of nice. So, you know, I don't have to speak as loudly. And right now I'm in an area where there's very little wind noise. Now, up on the, I was up on the highway earlier. I did hear quite a bit of wind noise, probably heard more than I normally do, but that's because it wasn't competing with the sound of the engine. Now, is that a benefit? Absolutely. You know, the other benefit is, you know, whenever you're on like a sport bike or a cruiser that's got some loud pipes and you're throttling it, it's going to get everybody's attention, including the local law enforcement. This gun has got a kind of stealth mode. Now, I know they say loud pipes save lives, whatever. I think that this thing can be a lot of fun. If you're worried about that, maybe, you know, do something, give it some noise, you know, horn or something, I don't know. But anyways, this thing is a real hoot to ride. I think that this is probably the direction. I can see other manufacturers going in this direction, even maybe some of the mainstream manufacturers like, you know, Honda or, you know, Kawasaki, Suzuki, things like that. I think that at some point we will absolutely see more mainstream electric motorcycles on the market. This thing is so darn good. I just can't imagine another company not looking at this and going, wow, why didn't we do that? Now, a couple of years ago, Harley did debut a what they call the Livewire. It was a concept vehicle. I hope they actually put that into production. I never got a chance to ride one, but I will tell you this. The people that did had really rave reviews about it, and I think it's a pretty darn good looking bike. So, you know, I'd like to see more bikes like this coming down the pike. A motorcycle is, in my opinion, it's an extension of your personality. There are so many different styles. You know, sport bikes, cruisers, you know, dual sports. I mean, you name it. There's some type of bike out there that probably appeals to you. This is a bike that will probably appeal to a certain type of individual as far as purchasing it. But I got to tell you, just the cool factor on this thing alone, the ease of riding it. I mean, you know, guys, let me check this thing out. You know, I mean, it is just incredibly well balanced. I would highly recommend this if you're the kind of person that commutes to work. If you got maybe a 30-40 mile trip or one way or even round trip, this would probably be perfect for you, man, because it has really good manners on the highway. It has really good manners around town. It's whisper quiet. You pull up to a stop sign or a stoplight, this thing just shuts off. You don't even hear anything. So you know, it's a really impressive piece of hardware. It's got, like I said, it's got the belt drive. Belt drives require very little maintenance. They run very quietly. I mean, I've been looking for negatives on this bike, and the only negatives I can really find are things that are just different than what I'm used to. For instance, coming to a stop. I'm reaching for the clutch all the time. It ain't there. Don't need to worry about that, right? I'm trying to downshift when I'm coming to a stop. No, there's no pedal there either. So, is there anything wrong with the bike? Absolutely not. It's just what I'm used to. The other thing is, this thing has a high suspension. It's kind of set up like a dual sport or a supermoto. The handling characteristics are very supermoto, even though it has a kind of knobby tire on it. I'm sure with some sticky tires, this thing would be a real hoot. But the suspension is high, so when I come to a stop sign or something, I am kind of, you know, reaching with my toes a little bit. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there are, you know, many of the bikes out there, adventure bikes, dual sports, even some of the sport bikes, you know, they have a high seat height, and you know, you do have to reach for them a little bit. So again, it's nothing wrong with the bike. It's just not what I'm used to. For this bike, could I get used to those things? I think so. You know what? I'm a motorcyclist. I love all motorcycles. It seems like I haven't gotten on a motorcycle that I haven't liked yet. So that's probably some kind of brain damage on my part. However, there are some that I'm going to put like really high up on the list of bikes that I'd really like to own. This is going to be one of them, guys. And again, I do like the sound, especially the sound of a 90-degree V-twin. I like the sound of it accelerating. I like the sound of it decelerating. It's something that really, you know, gets the hair on my arms to stand up, you know. So this does none of that. But what it does do is, you know, get you point A to point B economically, quietly. It's very comfortable. As you can see, the riding position, I mean, your arms are just kind of just in that really just kind of relaxed position. Your legs are straight down. Foot pegs are nicely located, so you feel like you got a lot of leg room. The tank does kind of suck in here a little bit to tuck, so you can tuck your knees in. Now that gives you some wind breakage, but it also helps you steer with your knees, so that if you just use your waist and your knees, you can pretty much control this. You can make it dance, as they say. But yeah, man, it's a really great bike. I'm going to get up here to US 1. I'm going to cut on over here in just a few minutes. When I do that, I am going to highlight a feature called the Sport Mode. Now, the Sport Mode does transform this vehicle from like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, just like the Ludicrous Mode does on the Tesla. I don't know how it works. I'm no computer genius or electric motor genius, but I can tell you one thing. When you put it in, it is an amazing difference between the two styles. The Eco mode's pretty fantastic. I mean, I promise you wouldn't have any complaints with the way it performs in Eco mode. But it's when you put it into Sport mode, well, then it becomes like mind-bending. So I do want to share that with you before I end the ride. I think this road heads out to the main road. We'll try that out. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so my mistake. Looks like we're just going to ride in circles here. All right. This thing has an amazing turning radius. It is so well balanced, even with a tall seat height. I mean, making a turn like that was a breeze. I think that, and that's another thing. I mean, if you're not a motorcyclist or haven't ridden a motorcycle before, but you want to get into motorcycling, this could be a really good option for you. Reason being, one, if you don't want to get used to a clutch or shifting gears, if you're used to an automatic style automobile, this is the way to go, man. There are no gears in this thing. It is direct drive. It just keeps going. The other thing is, it is really easy to handle. The braking is incredibly controlled, and by controlled, I mean it has really great bite, but it doesn't lock up. I mean, it's really hard to. I mean, I'm sure you could lock it up if you tried, but it's very controlled. You give it the right amount of pressure, it stops nicely. It's very easy to get used to. So from the standpoint of a new rider, I think it would be great. Again, if you're an experienced rider, it's going to be really different, but I think it'll be great for you as well. Again, I can't think of probably a better bike that would be a commuter for around town. Been out for a little bit on this now, and it's at 82% still, so I still got plenty of charge left. Now, I did experience a little of that range anxiety last night on my way home. It wasn't fully charged when I left. Hey, my fault. I should have planned a little better, but I made it home all right. But it is something you want to keep handy, because you want to be sure you're fully charged for the trip you're taking. I do live 49 miles from my job, so that's rode it home from there. Incredible ride, great lighting. Coming down 46 last night, the lighting was fantastic. I don't know if it's a halogen or LED, what it is, but it was brilliant. Very easy to redisplay. The mirrors now, the mirrors they're kind of wide out at the end, so that area gives you really good coverage. Where they come in narrow, to me, and I'm wearing a big winter jacket right at the moment, but my shoulders are kind of cutting off some of my vision there. So, and I'd probably move the mirrors out a little bit if you could do that, or up and out a little bit to give you a little bit better view behind you. But it's really not bad. Like I said, the wide part, the part that gives you the most view, it's pretty open. I just because I do commute every day, I do like to be able to see what's coming up behind me. So around this corner, this will take us back out to US 1. I will the last part of the test ride, I will demonstrate the sport mode to give you an idea what that's all about. Again, it's well, you have to experience that for yourself. Again, I'm just giving you my opinion of the bike. The best way to get a feel for this bike is to come down and ride one. The model that they use with Zero is, we keep bikes in the store. They're demonstrators. This is a 2018 model. You come down, you test drive one, you like it. We put it in order for a bike that's specifically built for you, and then you go. It's yours. So I'm going to put it here in sport mode. Click down. There we go. Custom sport. All right. All right, Mr. Scott. I need warp drive. Aye, aye, Captain. Yep, it's kind of like that. So I'm going to put it back in eco mode because this thing is just too fast. But to give you an idea of what it's like, I hope that, you know, the video picked up how quickly this thing was accelerating. Again, doesn't make a peep while it's doing it. It does it effortlessly. Did drop down to 79% of the charge, so it did use up a little bit of charge to do that little bit of boom. But well worth it. I think that, again, that these bikes are a lot of fun. They're incredibly practical, and I believe that if you do the math, you're going to find the overall cost of ownership to be fantastic on one of these. You're going to save on gas, maintenance, again, no oil changes, no valve adjustments, no tune-ups. These are all things that you have to build into the cost of owning a motorcycle. So if you were to take a motorcycle that was maybe 10 grand, you pay a couple grand more to buy one of these zeros, your overall cost of ownership is going to, you know, it's going to probably be in the, you know, to the good for you, especially if you put a lot of miles on. So I want to give it you something to think about. Come on down and ride one. We're located at on 1792 in Longwood, Florida. We're at Sky Powersports. You want to find out more, give me a call. The area code is 407-960-6826. We'll be happy to answer all your questions. Set up a time where you can test drive one of these beauties. Again, it's something you need to experience for yourself. I promise you, I cannot explain or you know, put it out there in words what it's like to ride one of these motorcycles. You have to ride one for yourself. So guys, this is again Chip from Sky Powersports in Orlando, Florida. Guys, I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.